Hi, my name is Ralph Gilles. I'm Apex member something, 180 something. I'm Chief Design Officer for Stellantis. I love Mopars for that reason. And my car is a 1968 Charger, aka Hellucination. I grew up watching a lot of automotively themed television, right? And the Charger was kind of a hero. You know, it was one of the Hollywood's favorites in terms of the bad guy, you know, whether it's Bullet or the hero car. In the Dukes of Hazzard series, which I watched religiously. Not for the storyline, it was all about watching the car fly and drift and do all kinds of stuff. And of course the car, you know, ended up in Fast and Furious, which I've had a close relationship with that. You know, when I was CEO of Dodge, we worked on Fast 5 and got to see the whole production cycle. And the car really became a hero as well as Vin Diesel was, you know, kind of Dom's character drove it. So there's something about it. It's a timeless machine to me that evokes a lot of Dodge's personalities, has an attitude, but it's somehow elegant at the same time. And I ran into a wonderful car. I was at a show in LA, and Speedkore had brought their Charger they had built for a customer, an all carbon fiber 1970 Charger, and I saw it and I was like, oh my God, that thing is incredible. Just the way it just, you cannot walk away from that car. You have to consume it, understand it. And the more I looked into the car, the more I was impressed with the details. So I kind of went home all flustered, you know, didn't really think much about it other than I kept thinking about that car all the time. And I've been looking for a vintage 68 for a long time. One thing led to another, called them up, and we started working on, I said, the only difference is I want it to be a 68, not the 70, because they change the front ends every year. The 70 had the wraparound bumper and the exposed lamps. I wanted the hideaway lights. So they got to finding a barn find. So they found a pretty dilapidated 68 because we were gonna redo it anyway, so it didn't really matter. So the worst case, the worst condition, the better. And that's actually where we started. The whole car is really a true 1968 in terms of its dimensions. But the brief on the car was, it's gotta look vintage from about 20 feet away, but it's gotta drive as tight as possible, as much like a race car as possible. So we start off with the frame. It's a very stiff frame. It's got a chromoly box section that runs the whole length of the frame. The roll cage is actually welded into the frame. And one of the coolest features of the car is the tub is a true carbon fiber honeycomb tub, which is bonded permanently to the frame. So the whole body is basically zero flex. And then you put an independent front suspension from Detroit Speed with Penske coilovers at all locations. The rear is a classic solid axle with a 3-to-1 gear ratio. But it's shortened. You know, we had to narrow the axle quite a bit to tub the 345. So it's got 345 Michelin Pilot Sport Cups in the back, 265s in the front, and then it's got Brembo 6-piston calipers from the Charger Red Eye, and the rear brakes as well from the modern day Mopars. So, you know, the overall weight, we kind of didn't really worry about the weight. We knew it'd be lighter. It ended up at around 3850. It's heavier than we expected. It should have been 3600, but because of the wheels, they're very heavy because they're cool looking. You know? I went for style over weight because I really like the wheels that were on the Charger from Dukes of Hazzard. So we kind of took that theme and blew it up to 19 and 20 inch. So it evokes a bit of my favorite things, let's say. And the sound system. The sound system is on a 140-pound rack with the amps and the subs, so it can be removed. So if you go tracking, you take that out. But it doesn't matter. The car had 1,000 horsepower with that giant all aluminum 426 Elephant engine. There's only 100 of them. It's quite horrific to drive sometimes. To fit that Elephant engine, then we had to create a unique hood. We spent a lot of time going through different hood ideas. The sister car to this has a hole where the engine pokes out of it. I wanted something that looks more like a Demon, so it was inspired by the Demon hood, which is basically a simple horizontal. So that's custom there. And Speedkore did on their own. They actually took the bumpers and set them into the body, so they're flush to the body, they don't stick out. That was their own idea, so I really like what they did there. The hideaway lamps are actually done in 3D printing because the dimensions are slightly more accurate. It fills the gaps perfectly. One of my favorite features is the steering wheel itself. So it evokes the original 3-spoke, but the real 3-spoke was like a truck wheel. This was really big in diameter. This has got a really cool short diameter, but it has the right section. It's a very thin rim section, beautiful 1 milli. It's all aluminum, billet milled steering wheel. And on and on. So Gabe Customs designed the interior. So they took the original 1968 theme, modernized it, cleaned it up. And my daughter got involved and branded it. So she designed the gauges. And we took the Elephant. The Elephant already existed, the Elephant head, but we actually had some fun with it and stretched the ears out a little bit more because this is technically quicker than a typical Elephant would be. And then the Hellucination, we came up with a name which was basically all of the Speedkore cars have some kind of name. You know, there's evolution and all that. So we wanted to go with Hellucination, which combines the engine and the fact that this can't be real. Like, to me, this is a dream. The fact that a car exists, and it's not a velvet rope car. We have 6,000 miles on it already. We drive it a lot. We did the first year showing it, and once I got, went to the Quail, went to National Hot Rod Show in Chicago, and did a bunch of those kind of things. Now I'm just driving it. I'm enjoying it, taking it just to Cars and Coffees, and driving to Apex all the time. So I really enjoy the car.